There is someone in your energy who has crossed a line internally, not a visible line, not something they announced, not something they confessed, not even something they meant to do on purpose, but a psychological line, a private decision that happened quietly inside them. At some point, without warning you, and without even fully admitting it to themselves at first, they stopped seeing you as optional. You became essential. And that shift matters, because this is the moment where simple attraction turns into something deeper, something protective, something territorial in the instinctive sense. Not, I own you, not toxic control, but that inner feeling of, I can't lose this. I can't let this slip away. I need to secure what I feel before it's too late. This person is no longer emotionally neutral about you. Their feelings have moved beyond casual interest, beyond temporary curiosity, beyond harmless attraction. This is someone whose emotions have intensified to a point where they are forming a psychological claim in their mind, not because they are naturally controlling, but because you activated something in them that they weren't prepared for. You activated their instinct to protect, to secure, to stay close, to make sure they don't lose access to you. And what's even more important, they didn't expect this to happen. Because this is not someone who usually gets like this. This is someone grounded, established, used to stability, used to being the one in control of their feelings. They don't panic easily. They don't fall apart easily. They don't chase recklessly. They don't lose their composure over emotions. Normally, they evaluate. They observe. They move slowly. They calculate risk. They keep their dignity. They keep emotional distance until they feel safe. But something happened that cracked their certainty. They realized you are not guaranteed to remain available forever. For a long time, they lived in an illusion that they had time. Time to decide later. Time to stay distant. Time to keep things casual. Time to move slowly. Time to watch you from a safe emotional distance. They believed you would still be there whenever they finally chose to step forward. But then that illusion started to disappear. And it disappeared because they started seeing your worth more clearly. They started noticing that you are the kind of person people approach, the kind of person people admire, the kind of person people want, the kind of person someone could easily take seriously. They started realizing, if I don't move, someone else will. So your energy began to feel expensive to them. Not in money, in value, like something rare, like something not easily replaced, like something that doesn't come twice. And when a person finally recognizes true value, hesitation becomes dangerous. That's the real trigger here. It wasn't just love. It wasn't just attraction. It was the sudden awareness that they could lose you. And that awareness created emotional urgency. Now we move into their inner conflict. Because on one side, they want to stay composed. They want to appear calm. They want to look unbothered. They want to keep their pride. But on the other side, there's anxiety. Quiet anxiety. Heavy anxiety. The kind that doesn't show up as words. It shows up as overthinking. They begin imagining scenarios where you move on without them. They imagine you choosing someone else. They imagine you becoming unavailable. They imagine you building a future that doesn't include them. They imagine being left outside in the cold, watching your life continue without them. And what scares them is not just losing you. It's becoming irrelevant in your story. Because they've already given you a space in their mind that they can't take back. They've already built a version of you in their heart that they can't easily delete. So the thought of you moving forward without them hits them like a silent threat. And that's why their energy toward you changes in waves. Let me ask you something. Have you noticed moments where their attention suddenly intensified? Like they got more watchful, more reactive, more present, more curious about what you're doing, who you're talking to, where your energy is going? Have you felt a shift in their vibe? Like something triggered them out of nowhere? That wasn't coincidence. That was fear. Not fear of you. Fear of losing access to you. Fear of someone else getting what they secretly feel belongs in their future. And here's the truth. This connection was never casual for them. Even if they tried to act like it. Even if they kept their feelings hidden. Even if they played it cool. From the beginning, something about you registered as significant. You are occupying space in them that they cannot easily clear. And what makes this even more intense is that they are not used to feeling unworthy. This person normally doesn't feel threatened. They normally don't feel like they have to prove themselves. They normally don't feel insecure in love. But with you, something in them got humbled. Because you are not easy to read. You're not easy to replace. And you carry a kind of value that makes them question if they are doing enough. So now, they're caught in a loop. They attempt distraction. They attempt focus. They attempt to convince themselves they can stay detached. But even when they try, you come back to their mind. In quiet moments. In random moments. In the middle of responsibility. In the middle of a normal day. And they don't understand how it keeps happening. They may tell themselves, I'm fine. They may act like they're fine. They may appear calm. But inside, their thoughts about you are persistent. This is not weakness. This is attachment forming. And here's what you need to understand. They have not shown you the full depth. They haven't shown you their jealousy. They haven't shown you their possessiveness. They haven't shown you how strongly they react when you get attention from others. But it's there. And it's stronger than they want to admit. Because when they see you being noticed, something activates. They start comparing themselves to whoever is around you. They start questioning your level of interest. They start wondering if they're too late. And then that fear pushes them into two possible behaviors. Either they get closer, or they go silent. And this is where most people misunderstand. Because what looks like distance can actually be restraint. What looks like coldness can actually be emotional overload. What looks like they don't care is often they care too much, and they're trying not to lose control. They are fighting themselves. They want you, but they don't want to look desperate. They want to claim you, but they don't want to risk rejection. They want to step forward. But they're afraid that if they do, they'll expose how deep it really goes. Because once they admit it, they can't go back to pretending. Once they speak it, the connection becomes real in a way they can't escape. And they know that. That's why they've been watching. That's why they've been calculating. That's why their energy feels intense but inconsistent. But they're preparing themselves mentally, emotionally, strategically, because they have reached a point where doing nothing feels more painful than taking a risk. And the biggest shift is this. They no longer see you as someone they might choose someday. They see you as someone they don't want anyone else to have. They don't want to lose you to time. They don't want to lose you to distance. They don't want to lose you to someone who moves faster than they did. So now, their emotions are moving toward action. Not because they suddenly became impulsive, but because the fear of losing you is now louder than their fear of being vulnerable. And if you've been feeling that change in the air, if you've been sensing their energy hovering, if you've noticed them becoming more intense, more aware, more reactive, that's why. Because internally, they cross that line. And once someone crosses that line, they don't go back to being neutral again. When emotionally strong people start catching real feelings, it rarely shows on the surface at first. Not because they don't feel it, but because they don't allow themselves to show it. They're used to being in control. They're used to keeping their emotions private. They don't like looking vulnerable. They don't like looking like they need anyone. So instead of reacting fast, they go quiet. They pull everything inward. They suppress what they feel, and they try to handle it alone. But that doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means everything is happening inside them. They're not the type to confess just because emotions hit them. They study their emotions. They analyze them. They try to understand what this connection is doing to them. And once they realize it's real, they don't rush, they observe. They watch closely. They monitor the person they're feeling so much for. They pay attention to your patterns, your energy, your mood shifts, your distance, your softness, your reactions, and especially your emotional availability. Because for them, love isn't just feelings. Love is risk. And you've become a risk because you've become valuable to them. They are highly sensitive right now. Not in a weak way, in a hyper-aware way. They're picking up on anything that could threaten their chances with you. And I'm not talking about physical threat. I'm talking about emotional threat. Competition. The idea that someone else could step in. The idea that the opportunity could disappear. The idea that one day you could move on and they'll have to live with the regret of never taking action. That fear doesn't make them dramatic. It makes them focused. This is where jealousy starts rising. And the jealousy isn't always loud. Sometimes jealousy looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like watching from a distance. Sometimes it looks like restraint. It looks like them trying to act normal, while inside they're tense, alert, protective, and on edge whenever they see attention around you. They notice more than you think. They notice who looks at you. They notice who talks to you. They notice who tries to impress you. They notice who's getting closer. Even if you're not aware of it, they are. And it's waking something up in them. Something primal. Something possessive. Something that says, I need to secure this before it's too late. That's why their thoughts are intense right now. And yes, some of their thoughts are romantic, passionate, even a little feral. Not because they're unstable, but because they've reached the point where you're not just someone they like. You're someone they want to have, to claim, to keep, to make official. And here's what's important. They're controlling themselves on purpose. They don't want to be loud. They don't want to chase in a messy way. They don't want to come off immature. They don't want to act jealous in front of you. So instead of exploding emotionally, they are mastering themselves. They're the type who would rather look calm while their heart is burning inside. They would rather stay silent than say the wrong thing. They would rather hold back than lose control. But silence doesn't mean absence of love. Silence, for them, is often preparation, because something has shifted in their behavior. At first, they were observing. Now, they are strategizing. Before, they were asking themselves, do I even want this? Now, they already know they do. The question has changed. Now they're asking, when do I move? How do I move? How do I do this in a way that works? What do I say so they take me seriously? What action proves I'm real? What step locks this in permanently? This is no longer casual interest. This is someone moving from curiosity into decision. And that decision is getting stronger day by day. You might even feel it in the energy, like they're more present lately. Even if they're not speaking much, they're around more, watching more, checking more, paying more attention. You might notice subtle signs, more consistency, more awareness of your emotional state, more quiet effort, like they're trying to stay close without making it obvious. If you've noticed small changes like that, it's not random. That's them positioning themselves. Because here's the truth, they don't want to approach you in a weak way. They don't want to come in confused. They don't want to come in unsure. They want to come in with certainty, with authority, with stability, with something that makes you feel, okay, this person is serious. So even if they've been distant, even if they haven't been calling, texting, or acting openly romantic, it doesn't mean they stopped caring. It means they're building the moment. They're preparing to do it right. They are thinking about timing. They are thinking about what would make you trust them. They are thinking about what would make you feel safe choosing them. They are running through scenarios in their mind. If I say this, how will they respond? If I do that, will it push them away? If I wait too long, will I lose them? And the biggest shift is this. They're starting to feel like delay is dangerous. They understand that waiting creates risk, and risk is no longer acceptable to them. They don't want to watch someone else get what they feel belongs with them. They don't want to sit in silence while you drift away. They don't want to lose you because of hesitation. So they're making plans. Not imaginary plans. Real ones. They're deciding steps. They're building confidence. They're preparing a move. They're calculating how to come forward in a way that changes everything. And when they finally speak to you, it won't feel like casual communication. It won't feel like a random message that leads nowhere. Their words will have intention behind them. Their energy will have movement behind it. It'll feel like they've already made up their mind. Because they have. They're not neutral about you anymore. They're emotionally invested now. And when emotionally strong people invest, they don't do it halfway. They don't play games. They don't kind of commit. They commit with structure, seriousness, and protective energy. This is someone who wants long-term commitment. They don't see you as temporary. They don't see you as just a phase. They see you as someone that fits into the long-term structure of their life. The kind of person they could build something with. The kind of person they could settle down with. The kind of person they could create a home with. And yes, their desire is intense. They crave you emotionally. They crave you physically. But deeper than that, they crave certainty with you. They crave closeness that doesn't feel fragile. They crave something locked in. Their heart is open more than they want to admit. Their emotions are rising, and it's becoming harder for them to pretend it's nothing. So if you've been wondering, do they even care? If you've been thinking, maybe they moved on because they're quiet. If you've been doubting because you don't see them acting like others would, understand this. Some people don't show love by talking a lot. Some people show love by preparing, by planning, by choosing, by deciding you're not something they're willing to lose. This person is moving from restraint into action. And the most important part is this: once they feel you might slip away, they don't want to watch it happen. They want to secure you. They want to claim you. They want to make it clear to you and to everyone that you are not just someone they care about. You are someone they're choosing. Not temporarily, not casually, but permanently. They are no longer neutral. They are no longer just watching. They are getting ready to step in, show up differently, and make you feel the truth they've been hiding. You matter to them more than they ever expected. This connection was never meant to be built through pressure. It's not about chasing or forcing anything. It's unfolding through presence, through steady actions, through a consistency that speaks louder than words. And very soon, their intentions won't feel confusing anymore. You won't have to guess where you stand. Their actions will make it clear. You carry a balanced, powerful energy. You're focused. You're grounded. There's a quiet strength in you that doesn't need to be loud to be felt. You know who you are, even when you don't say much. And this person feels that. They see it now. There's a strong fire and ice dynamic between you. You are the fire, passionate, warm, driven, emotionally alive. They are the ice, calm, reserved, controlled, careful with what they show. If both of you were fire, it would burn too fast. If both were ice, nothing would move. But together, you balance each other. You warm their guarded heart, and they ground your intensity. That's why this compatibility feels rare. This connection has awakened something inside them. Their emotions feel stronger. Their sensitivity has increased. It's like something within them has been activated, and it didn't happen by accident. You triggered it. Before you, they weren't thinking about settling down. They weren't dreaming about building a home or choosing one person long term. They were comfortable living freely, not worrying about commitment. They were fine the way things were. But meeting you changed that. Now they imagine a future they never cared about before. Now they think about stability, partnership, something real. The version of life without you doesn't feel the same anymore. You didn't pressure them into this. You simply showed up as yourself, and that was enough to awaken their desire for something deeper. Even if they've been slow or silent, their feelings are growing. And soon, you won't need reassurance. Their consistency, their effort, and their actions will show you exactly where you stand. Because this isn't temporary energy. They're starting to see you as something long-term, something real, something like home. Before you, they were fine being alone. They weren't looking for love, commitment, or anything serious. Life felt easy and controlled. Then you came in, and everything changed. Now they can't imagine their life without you. They think about you constantly. What once felt complete suddenly feels empty if you're not there. They never believed they would fall this deeply, but they did, and there's no going back. They get jealous when others notice you, not in a negative way, but because they now understand your value. They see how special your energy is, and it makes them realize they could lose you if they don't act. They haven't spoken up yet because they're careful. They plan. They analyze. They want to approach you the right way so nothing goes wrong. But make no mistake, in their heart, they've already chosen you. You've awakened intense feelings inside them. Desire, longing, love. What they want with you isn't temporary. It's real. It's lasting. And soon, the silence won't stay silent anymore.